When I say the word unhealthy, what's the first thing that pops into mind? A sore throat, persistent coughs, and nasty cold medicine are what most people think. But that is only one way people can feel when they're not at their best. There are different realms of health. These are social, spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental. But the ones often swept in the rug, especially with young children and adolescents, is mental health. The World Health Organization states on the newsroom page about how 1 in 7, which is 14% of 10 to 19-year-olds, experiences a mental health condition, many of which go undiagnosed and untreated. Because of this, mental health does not discriminate or have standards. It can hit at any place and any time. Because of this, we must protect those most vulnerable and susceptible to mental illness in our countries and in our families, which are children. You may not have children now, but if you're deciding in the future to start a family or even have a young relative, you would wish nothing but the best for them, for safety, happiness, and good health. That includes their mental well-being. Although we can prepare or prevent anyone from experiencing mental illness, we can catch it quickly and provide the correct professional care needed with the use of mental health screenings. These screenings help identify risk factors and signs of mental illness. And the best place to input them would be in the area children frequent the most, besides their own homes: schools. One of the reasons why children are so prominent in mental illness is because of how observant they are. It's likely one of the reasons why you've had to be wary and attentive to what you say and do around them, such as watching your language. Due to being so perceptive, a bad environment or people in their lives can be detrimental to their mental well-being. A few of them are named by the American Psychology Association under psychology topics: children, physical abuse by a family member, constant bullying, living in a low-income environment or household, and being a part of a minority group are only a few, all of which are possible to occur within a child's life and place them at a greater risk for developing a mental health disorder. But with the use of mental health screenings, we can catch these early warning signs early and provide the correct support needed, helping every child, giving the possibility for a child to be removed from a dangerous situation or environment, and decreasing likelihood of them experiencing long-term effects due to mental illness in their lives. But with the introduction of these screenings, some fears and concerns arise alongside with them. An article by Education Week titled "Measuring Students' Despite their promise, mental health screenings in schools face resistance," shares an argument that many families use against these screenings. The argument that these screenings infringe on the rights and privacy of students is the one many families use. Quote, "Quite frankly, it is not the school's role to subordinate parents when it comes to their children," is a sentiment by John Graham, president of the Oklahoma Springs 49 Board, School District 49 Board, that many agree with. However, a blog by the Education Commission of the States shares the laws and the amendments that help protect the privacy and rights of parents when regarding these evaluations. The blog, titled "Measuring Students' Mental Health While Protecting Their Privacy," goes into detail about how in the wake of COVID, schools started to implement screenings and surveys to help students and the steps educators had to take to follow HIPAA and PPRA. HIPAA is the Health Insurance Reliability and Accountability Act. It protects medical records and other personal information about one's health. PPRA is the Protection of People Rights Amendment, which ensures the privacy of students when taking these evaluations and protects the rights of parents when regarding them. These rights consist of notifying parents when school assessments occur and giving them the option to opt out. It is important to provide as many rules and policies as possible to make families comfortable, to ensure that as many children have the chance to be evaluated, because without them, there can be some dire consequences. Mental health is nothing recent, but screenings and treatment relatively are. Because of this, the effects of untreated mental illness are unfortunately well documented. The Mayo Clinic presents a few of them in their page discussing mental illness symptoms, diagnosis, and doctors. These are the following: a decrease in enjoyment of life, social isolation, harm to themselves or others, a greater chance of developing a disability, and greater chance of developing an addiction and meddling in addictive substances. Mental health cannot be stalled or ignored. When an individual is not assessed or given the proper resources they need, they are forced to live a life filled with confusion, detachment from the world, and plain suffering. But with the use of these mental health screenings within schools, we can catch mental illness early and stop the cycle before it even begins. Give the children a life that they deserve, one filled with happiness, safety, and good health. But there are some problems that are currently happening and would likely increase in the wake of mental health screenings within schools, although they do have solutions that are being worked on. These problems are presented in another article by the American Psychology Association, AP for short, titled Mental Health Care is in High Demand. Psychologists are leveraging tech and peers to meet the need. This article shares 2 surveys that present this information. The first survey is titled the KFF/CNN Mental Health in America Survey, and it goes into detail about how one-third of participants felt that they could not receive the mental health care they required. With questioned further, 80% stated that cost was the biggest issue. The second survey was conducted by APA themselves and is titled the 2022 Practitioner Impact Survey, COVID-19 Practitioner Impact Survey. And within it, 60% of psychologists stated that they had no room for new patients. These 2 surveys present important information about the shortage of healthcare providers the nation is currently experiencing and the hefty cost that comes with mental illness treatment. These 2 issues can cause conflict and people to become wary about implementing these screenings within schools. But it shouldn't be that way, and it won't be for long. The same article by APA goes into detail about how there are new interventions and strategies that psychologists are leveraging to solve these problems. These interventions include digital interventions in the form of apps, such as a surfacing app called Saluna, taking online tests to better equip therapists, and the use of single-session therapy, as research shows that many do not return after the first session. These 3 and many more present a cost-effective form of care, as well as easing up the load many health professionals have, allowing for everyone to receive the mental health care they require with no restraints. The need for mental health screenings is clear, and we must implement them if we hope to change our current situation. The US is currently experiencing a mental health crisis, but the ones who are being affected the most are the youth, according to the CDC's page titled Protecting the Nation's Mental Health. With the use of mental health screenings, more individuals who are susceptible or already experiencing mental illness will be found and treated. But if we do not implement these screenings, we force every child who is experiencing mental illness or simply at risk to live a life filled with confusion and suffering, to walk the path that many before them have walked before, with rarely any treatment. Increasing the mental health crisis with every new individual that walks it, a path that could have been blocked if they had taken an assessment years before that allowed for someone to step in. In conclusion, we as a society have far to go when it comes to mental health, but we can get a step ahead by implementing mental health screenings within schools. These screenings can help identify early warning signs of mental illness and provide the correct care needed to those who are susceptible or already experiencing mental illness. This can result in the possible removal of children from dangerous situations or environments and decrease the likelihood of them dabbling in addictive substances, harming themselves or others, and decreasing the chance of disability later on in life due to mental illness. Many are advocating for these implementations, but they are facing problems with fears and concerns from parents about the cost, shortage of healthcare providers, and the privacy that comes with these evaluations, although all have a solution. We must help them if we hope to change our current situation. Safety in numbers is the saying after all. We must join forces and call upon our government to implement these screenings by call, text, phone, any way that we can get them to listen to us. Because with these screenings, we can give our future generation a chance at a good life, one with safety, happiness, and good health in all the realms, for our future generation, for our children. Thank you.